Okay, so I have a question. How come Vader never mentions Yoda in the original trilogy? And the only answer I can come up with is bad writing. Because George Lucas has a problem with this, with tying things together and trying to make them work. And I mean, you could see even in the prequels, he was trying to tie everything together, even things that didn't matter, introducing characters who didn't matter, Qui-Gon, Count Dooku, all these characters in the scheme of things. Just there was no point. There was no need to introduce them. He didn't need to tie everything together like Anakin built C-3PO. Yoda taught Count Dooku, who then taught Qui-Gon, who then taught Obi-Wan, who then taught Anakin, and so on and so forth. It just needs to be that Yoda taught Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan taught Anakin, and then Anakin fell, and then Obi-Wan teaches Luke, and that's it. That's the groundwork we have right there. So what I would have liked to have seen in the prequels is Yoda actually teach Obi-Wan, as opposed to just being thrown into Yoda, all the backstory with Yoda teaching everybody and it trickled down. That's what I don't want. That's what I didn't want, but that's what we got. So the idea that I had was, in the prequels, that if I were to make them, was that we follow the groundwork that I was just saying, where it's Yoda teaches Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan Anakin, Obi-Wan Luke, and that's it. Obi-Wan is the only person who I have to worry about where he teaches two different learners, two different students, the father and the son. And that's the thing is, since Obi-Wan takes on Anakin in these prequels that I'm thinking of, in my prequels, what should have happened was Obi-Wan took on Anakin. Anakin turned on Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan goes into exile. So on and so forth. That story. But it's not like you have to introduce your learner every time to your former master. That's what I don't want. You don't have to do that. That master trained you for a reason, to go on to teach the ways of the Force to someone else, to another. You don't need to be like, hey, this is my Master Yoda. Let's all just sit around. You'll learn from him. You'll learn from me. It's like, no, I've already learned everything from Yoda. Me, Obi-Wan, I'm trying to teach Anakin now, and then Luke later on. So really, that's the only way to just be like, well, how about Yoda and Vader never met. Yoda and Anakin never met, because we start getting caught up in all these plot holes, like Yoda, this big question that is never answered in the prequels or in the originals. It's never answered. So the only time we see them all together, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda, is at the end of Return of the Jedi, when they're all Force ghosts. And that ending I'm fine with. I'm fine with them all being around Luke, being the words of wisdom and the saving. You had Sebastian Shaw. That's the only one that I remember. I don't want Hayden Christensen as a Force ghost. You have Alec Guinness, and then you have Yoda, Obi-Wan Yoda. But other than that, really, like, you can't just tie everything together like Lucas has done and expect it to just work out. Because that's, in Lucas's prequels, what should have happened in his originals is Vader's still on the hunt for Yoda, along with Obi-Wan. Even though he says the circle is now complete, when I left you, I was but the learner, now I am the master. And things like that. Well, he shouldn't have even said that yet until he met Yoda, because his whole thing should have been that he's hunting the Jedi, which would have been great. And once he finished off the Jedi or something, or maybe what could have been done is Vader, and maybe they can explore this in a Yoda movie, which is one thing that I thought was, how about in the Yoda movie, it's the the other eye-catching thing, or the thing that's supposed to draw us into that movie, is what if it's a Jedi hunt the whole movie? What if it is Vader on Yoda's tail, trying to find him, catch him, kill him, and along the way, some other Jedi learner encounters Yoda, and then from there on, we start seeing Vader cutting down very few Jedi survivors, like just one or two random people that we never met in the prequels, or in anyone's prequels, my prequels, George Lucas's prequels, and that's it. Because we have yet to get a Jedi hunt movie that we really want. I mean, we got that little bit with Revenge of the Sith where the clones turned on him, but I never cared for Order 66. I wanted what Alec Guinness said was Vader hunted down the Jedi. That's what I want to see. And with Rogue One and how they did Vader like that, a movie of just Vader hunting Jedi and just doing what he does best. I mean, that would draw people in, but you would make it a Yoda movie because we would mainly follow Yoda, but the antagonist would be Vader. That's it. It wouldn't be anyone like that. Like that right there needs to truly be the lightsaber movie where we've got lightsabers igniting and there's fights and all that stuff. But other than that, that's the only way that I think they could really tie things together as to why Vader never mentions Yoda. He's dead. Vader. We have to think that Vader killed Yoda if they make a Yoda movie. That's the only way that 5 would make sense, unless they completely if Disney wipes the prequels and just goes, no, that never happened. Too many people hate them already. Let's remake them, which would be fantastic, I think, if they did it right. But in the scheme of things, so this adds on to my Yoda movie as well, or my Yoda video that I made, that this is another idea for the Yoda movie, is that it needs to just be a Jedi hunt for Vader, the whole movie. But it's not a Vader standalone film, it's Yoda. But that's what needs to happen, is Vader thinks he kills Yoda, and that's how Yoda doesn't have his lightsaber anymore, because we never see his lightsaber in Return of the Jedi, or something like that, or maybe he stabs him, or he falls off a cliff or something. I mean, it doesn't even matter. He thinks Yoda's gone. He doesn't feel Yoda anymore. It ends on Dagobah or something. Or, yeah, that's the final scene, is it ends in the Force, the dark side of the Force cave or something like that. Something crazy like that. Just to be a full circle sort of package where we're like, okay, that's why Vader doesn't acknowledge him. When he fights Obi-Wan and he goes, the circle is now complete, it makes sense because, he's the master, it's come full circle. All the Jedi are about to be gone, except, Luke Skywalker is the last Jedi, Episode 8. He's the last Jedi. But yeah, so, like I said, why doesn't Vader ever mention Yoda? True answer, bad writing. Answer that I'm hoping for is that it just hasn't been touched upon in a specific movie, which would be the Yoda movie, a Jedi Hunt movie. He thinks he kills Yoda. There's no need to worry about Yoda anymore. He knows he hasn't killed Obi-Wan, so that's why he can feel in the movie when he's like, I felt something I haven't felt before in a long time. Boom, Obi-Wan. That's because he feels it. He doesn't feel Yoda anymore because Yoda's gone into hiding. Yoda almost needs to be able, if they want to delve into this, he can lower his force, his force. I guess the force, he can lower the force in himself, or maybe since the dark side of the force clouds your mind and something like that. Maybe he uses that against Vader, because I would think it would work both ways, but who knows. Anyway, so that's what I think. If you guys have any opinions or comments or anything, please leave them below, and I'll see y'all next time.